I haven't recorded out here in a little bit. Welcome. Retirement is much like every other phase of life. It is a series of ups and downs, highs and lows, just from a very unique perspective. But I can't think of any phase in life that's not from a unique perspective when you think of the person going through that particular phase. Imagine telling a teenager that the teen years is not really a unique phase. It absolutely is, as is retirement. Well, the good news is I made it through my teen years and now navigating my retirement years. I'm about 18 months into this little journey of mine, and oh, do I have some gems to share with you. I'm going to share what I call rolling with retirement from the lens of recovery and discovery. Recovering from what we are leaving behind or what we've left behind, and discovering for what lies ahead, which is the exciting part. I'm going to share 3 actions for you to consider as you navigate your own recovery and discovery phases of retirement. There are a ton of resources out there, online, in person. There are professional finance advisors. There are lifestyle coaches, lifestyle advisors specific to retirement. There are webinars. There are seminars. There are just, the list goes on and on with the wealth of resources out there to help with retirement plan. Important to know that I am none of these, however. I am especially not in any position to be given financial advice, and we won't be talking about financial advice. This is about the other aspect of retirement, the everyday things, the adjustments that you make as you navigate through. I'm simply here to add a voice from the practical side and the living side of retirement. But I will put some links in the notes below to some of those experts and some of the resources that I found really helpful. So 18 months in, and I would say the learnings have been absolutely fabulous. The disruption in my well-established routines has been a little chaotic, to say the least. The development of new routines has been surprising, uplifting, and downright challenging in some situations. The freedom has been nothing like I've experienced in any phase of life prior to this. That has been a huge, delightful surprise for me. Also, the financial adjustment hasn't been as bad as I expected. I don't know what I was expecting, but that has not been a huge adjustment so far. I'm only 18 months into this, so we'll keep you posted on that. Whether you're retiring or just starting to think about retirement, or whether you've been retired for a little while, or perhaps you're nowhere near retirement and you're just starting to think of your later years. If that's the case, good for you. Good for planning ahead. Whatever your reason for tuning in or clicking on this video, welcome. I am thrilled you are here. It is never too late or never too early to start planning for how we can make a more meaningful life at whatever phase of life you're in. As I share some things may be relevant, some may not. Grab what's useful. And if something that I say does not apply and it's not useful, easy peasy. Ignore it. I heard what I think is the absolute best advice for retirement last year. I was about 5 months into my retirement, and I was listening to the Wealthy Speaker podcast, and I heard Robert Gignac say certain words that resonated with me deeply. They were actually talking about strategies for building your richly imagined future from a financial perspective, but also in terms of joy, meaning, and wellness. And what he said was, think about freedom to, not freedom from. I'm going to repeat it because it's so important. Think about freedom to and not freedom from. Often when we're getting ready to retire, much like when students are getting ready to graduate high school, they start to think, or we start to think about all the things that we'll no longer have to do, all the things we'll have freedom from, the expectations, the pressures, the deadlines, all of that. And it is exciting to think about that, and we should be excited to think about that. We've worked long and hard. This is the freedom from thought process. What are we looking forward to running from? What are we looking forward to leaving behind, to having freedom from? Those first few weeks, I was pretty fired up. It's almost like I had to pinch myself to say, oh my God, is this real? Like, is this a life that I can live, that I don't have that constant pressure and those constant deadlines and being responsible for people and programs and everything else that goes with that. It was an amazing, wonderful feeling, and it still is. I'm 18 months into it, and that's still, sometimes I just have to pinch myself. Everyone is different, and everyone experiences retirement in every phase of life differently. But from my experience, those first 4 to 5 months, I think it probably lasted for me, was like a glorious extended vacation. It it was wonderful. The honeymoon phase, as it's officially called when you talk about the 5 stages of retirement. That time period will be different for everyone. Some may have that only for a few weeks. Some may have that for a whole year or longer. Some may never have it, whatever your experience. But just know that the honeymoon phase is one of the official phases of retirement. But then things started to settle for me a little bit. The excitement and the novelty started to wear off. I was still very much enjoying my time, but there wasn't the adrenaline rush of the excitement that no longer had to have those work pressures. And it was almost like my nervous system started to nudge me saying, okay, vacation's over. Let's get back to it. Let's get back to that routine that we've been doing for the last 30, 35 years. Oh no, my friend, my nervous system friend. That is not the life we live anymore. It is time for you to catch up to the plan and help me work through this next phase. So all that to say, let your body and your brain catch up to this transition and your new process. It may take a little bit while you're thoroughly enjoying and almost in disbelief of the amount of freedom that you have and all the fun that you're having. That does last, and enjoy that. That's like awesome. Also, remember that may start to wane, and then as reality and the realization of this new phase in life starts to settle in, it might feel a little bit different. Give yourself the time that you need. Now, having said that, give yourself the time that you need. Take some time for recovery. That doesn't mean sit around, do nothing, and be lazy. I'm talking about active recovery, my friend. I love this quote. Laziness is like cholesterol. There's good laziness and there is bad laziness. Very easy to slip into the bad laziness. So here are my top 3 recommendations for moving through the recovery phase and allowing yourself to move through the recovery phase at your own pace. It may not sound really exciting and earth-shattering or new to you, but they are vitally important and have been shown consistently with scientific research to make a difference. Number 1, move your body every single day. This does not have to be huge. Count your steps, set a target. Get out in the garden, go for a walk, take a dog for a walk, take your dog for a walk. If you don't have a dog, borrow a dog. Go to the local SPCA in your area and be a volunteer dog walker. Whatever it is, just keep moving. And if this has not been a part of your lifestyle up to your retirement, then there's no better time to start than in your retirement. Start small, but most importantly, be consistent. When we look at those decades of life, we're pushing on the second half, and so it is important to optimize our health the best we can. And it doesn't have to be a big to-do. It doesn't have to be a really challenging task for us. It just has to be something we start to embed into our daily routine, whether you feel like it or not. The second one is eat healthy. I know, how boring does that sound? I hate this one actually because I love sugar and I love certain sweets, and yeah, this is a struggle for me, but all we can do is try to make small little increments of improvement every day. Fortunate to get to this age, and so we are at an age where we do have to start paying attention to this. If we really want to optimize our living and our health, then start with what you're putting into your body. Is 3/4 of your plate all vegetables? Mine either, but apparently it's supposed to. Whatever it is that you need to do to start to make some improvements in your nutrition, take it seriously. These are the things that can drastically affect our health. And you can see the studies and the research that is out there about we are what we eat, literally. The third one is connect with people. Retirement is a fabulous time to make meaningful connections. Maybe strengthen old connections. Maybe take inventory. What connections do you want to maintain? What connections maybe you want to distance yourself from? What new connections do you want to make? There is documented evidence of epidemics of loneliness across many of the developed countries. I really believe that retirement is one of the best opportunities or one of the best phases for us to dig deep with this and really think about who we want to be connecting with. Retirement is also a phase, or in our age group, 50 plus, 55 plus, whatever it might be, is an age group that loneliness hits the hardest. So it is important to take this seriously. Make your connections. Again, these don't have to be big things. Go for coffee. Make a coffee date once a week. I have a girlfriend who, when she retired, one of her plans, one of her first priorities was that she was going to have a coffee date with a friend or an old colleague at least once a week. How great is that? And she's doing fabulous at it. And sometimes she doesn't feel like doing it, but she keeps at doing it, and the connections have been wonderful for her. So go for coffee in the middle of the day since you can now that you're retired. Coffee's not your thing and you don't want that one-on-one connection, volunteer somewhere. Go volunteer at the school. There's nothing like children to teach us all kinds of lessons. And there's probably not another system that is in great need of some volunteer and some adult support. Volunteer at a school, volunteer at a senior's place, volunteer at the local animal shelter, volunteer at an upcoming sports event, volunteer at an upcoming concert, whatever it might be. Just get out, make connections, and make sure you are connecting with people. Do what interests you. And if it doesn't really interest you, because you may not have any interest, and I get it, I'm an introvert. I am happiest when I'm in my little house doing my thing. And so if it's not natural for you to get out and make connections, you're going to have to make an effort for it, and you should make an effort for it.
A reminder from the U.S. Surgeon General that social connection is as fundamental to our mental and physical health as food, water, and sleep.
It comes down to doing things that bring you joy. Scientific research has shown repeatedly that positive emotions affect the way our brain actually works. And I don't want this to be about the science and the research and all that, because it is a practical perspective that I'm bringing. However, it's hard to talk about this stuff and not bring in some of the science and the research. And if for some reason you're just not in a space or a place where you are able to try any of these new things, maybe it's just not the right time for you to introduce any of these suggestions. Start with breathing. Yep, just breathe, but breathe in and out through your nose. This alone, simply breathing in and out through your nose, has been shown to have significant positive impacts on our health. There are several videos on my channel about nose breathing, but this one in particular that's in the corner up here should be enough to get you started if you're not ready to start with any of the other things. Start where you're at. This recovery phase is the perfect time to start to build the foundation for what lies ahead. And if you're not sure what brings you joy or what makes you happy or what gives you satisfaction or what things you want to pursue, no worries, because that then gets into the discovery phase. And that's what the next video will be, that will drop next week, about the discovery. What things are we running towards? Oh, and this is wrapping up just in time. I don't know if you can see the raindrops are starting to fall. Maybe there'll be a rainbow.